Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 of Add More Chat Options to RPG Turn-Based Project Template. In the last tutorial we basically covered how to do that, add more options. We went in and added a fishing option into the actor here and showed how to create the method for it so it doesn't basically throw an error when you have the new method in there. In this tutorial I want to go in more depth for basically each time you would click on the fishing option for them to go deeper and deeper into a chain, and then at the last thing basically just continuously repeat that. And we need to go into the in-game Visual Lua file that we built that method into in the last tutorial. Go ahead and click on that and switch over to the code side. Okay, scroll down and find that method. Okay, and there's our fishing method we programmed in the last one. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this method up a little bit. I was a little tired when I programmed this. Let's go ahead and take the add fish out because he isn't actually fishing with this. It's a conversation base. And go ahead and remove that add follower player command that was in there. Additionally to this, I really don't see the need for the allowed feature on this specific function. So in this case, I'm gonna show you how dynamic this can be by actually removing this at this time. So go ahead and chop out that allowed and remove the first half of that if block, including the and. Make sure there's a space in there. And okay, since we're gonna go ahead and remove that, we're going to want to go ahead and change the array number on here. Lua itself works off a non-zero base. It always starts at 1. This is unlike a lot of other programming languages that normally start at 0 and then go up. So for the first one, since the true-false is going to be out of there, let's go ahead and switch that to 1 here. Alright, go back up to the project tree view here and go back to the world map and definitely save what we just did there. Okay, now go back and select that actor, go into the attributes collection editor, and let's go back down to that fishing option there and go ahead and type in that sequence again that we did before, this time without the boolean in the beginning. Okay, so now that I got that retyped in there to fix that little bug there. Okay, relatively the same thing as I had in there before. So go ahead and hit OK on that. Now basically I go up to test and I'll show you that the bool is removed at this point. However, it isn't going to step through the array yet. See, perfectly functional without it. Okay, go ahead and close that back out and go back down to the in-game script file where we were programming that function. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is find out the total length of this thing. For that, just go ahead and type in local so it stays in the scope of this function, and let's just call it count in this case, equals, and for this command it is table get in, and that is a Lua function. And for this you're going to want to find out the length of options. Okay, go ahead over to the next line, hit enter, and just to line everything up right, hit the tab key. It just helps keep everything real organized. The computer program itself, it could be all compressed for all it cares, but this makes it definitely a lot more human. Next, we need to know what step we're on. However, you got to be real careful with computers not to call something that doesn't exist. For in this first case, we're going to check something and see if it exists as we're literally making it up. Blue's pretty forgiving in this way. Go ahead and hit if, and we need to give this a name. And I guess I'm going to go with fish chat at for the command name. Now we can't just do a simple variable for this that's declared up here that counts through it, because this could be for multiple actors. So we need to just basically build into the array, start storing the value of the actor into it, and then check to see what step they're at that point. For this, like I said, Lewis forgiving, we're literally making it up as we're going here. Let's go ahead and copy the actor's ID there and put it in brackets so it tries to grab it out of the array there, and ask it if it equals nil. Basically, if it equals nil, then we need to set this variable. In this case, it hasn't been set, so of course this variable needs to be set to 1 on that. Oh, probably should put that on its own line here. I'm going to start a little if block. Let's go ahead and tab that over to the right space there, and then go to the next line and type in else, and then go to the next line, tab back over. Now in this case, we're going to want to actually start increasing it, because it does exist. That means it has already been to the first position. So for that, let's go ahead and put that array in equals that array plus 1. Hit enter, and we're going to end this block here. Okay, I still have that in copy paste. This is the point that we need to know where it's at in the chat options. So instead of having a number here, we're going to pull that value that's stored in that array out and put it to basically pull it out of an array. So we had to replace the 1 with that fish chat at in brackets actor ID. Now if I did everything right, this should fire right up. Let's go ahead and hit the test button. And let's see if it works. Alright, do the first one. Alright, basically, I'm going to show you how real quick, because there is an error in this. It says there's a script error at line 75 is what that first part translates into. It attempted to call a global fish at chat nil value, and basically it's telling you that it's in the fishing function. That's the last command that the engine received where it failed out. So we're going to go ahead and fix that mistake. I believe it's because I didn't declare the base array on it, which I think should be pretty easy to patch up. Let's go ahead and hit OK and then close out of that. Alright, so basically we need to declare this as a table, I believe is what its dysfunction here is in this case. So copy that fish chat at, and I tend to like to put everything in kind of some kind of an organization. You could, quite frankly, just put this right here and declare it, but I usually prefer to put the attributes at the top, more of a standard type practice. So here in the attributes, go ahead and put a new line in there, put that command in, and put that it equals that right there. Not actually sure what those brackets are. Please somebody correct me in the YouTube comments. Probably should have looked that up. Anyways, it's those two right there in front of your face. Okay, so that hopefully should fix our problems there. So go ahead and hit the test button and let's see if we got that problem out of the way. Okay, cross your fingers. Okay, so he has the first one. You can fish out a river. Let's back away and go back up to him and go fishing again. You need a fishing pole to fish. Okay, and go to the third one and tell him fishing. I don't want to talk about fishing anymore. Let's go back to him and talk again, and I can already tell you that this is going to crash out. I intentionally left the one line out to kind of show you what happens if you try to dive into something further. It's basically at this point, it's defaulting off. It's not going to say anymore. The text is just the text that was left up there in the first place. So to fix this, it's pretty easy. We already started the thing for that. Let's go back down to the method here. And we need to check for the case to see basically if it's already at the last position. For this, we're going to do basically if block, which powers pretty much everything. Okay, let's so go ahead and go if the fish chat at and actors ID array actually let's put doesn't equal, which is that's what the tilia means, the count. So this is going to go through and here it's going to count up to put it up to position 3, but if it gets here, only case that it's going to go into is if it doesn't equal the count. So as soon as it hits 3, it's not going to be able to access this portion anymore to increase. Hence, it's going to keep repeating the same statement over and over. But then, let's go ahead and tab that next line over, and then in the block, of course. Now that should stop the chat from doing that. We also come up with other variations. There's many ways you can go on this. We could have else, and then we could have the chat literally loop back at this point to the first position, having it basically kind of repeat through a chain of events. We could also have it when it's maxed out, go into this attribute editor, and basically you can go into the chat options using the set attribute method. And you can basically change those chat options by accessing that attribute. Any of these commands, I never expect anybody to remember every command in the world. I mean, I just had to look up the table get in because I couldn't remember it. Because whoever basically named that function in Lua wasn't really thinking too well about naming things. But at any point, you can come in here, and if you hit the alternative right click, you can open this menu here. And then you have the quick commands here. This is basically, it's not every command in the engine. I'm constantly adding more and more commands to this to be able to have people access. But if you come out into the 2D area here, you'll see that there's the actors. Up at the top, you can see where we're doing the string.split on the actors.get attribute. Basically, you're going to want the opposite attribute to that, the set. So you could come in here and ask it to tell it to set attribute. You would use that actor's ID much like it is up above, tell it the name, and then the next parameter on it, the third parameter, would be what you want that to set as. I'll show you a quick example of how this works, and we'll just comment it out because right at the moment I'm not going to go that way. We'll just do the loop. But for example reasons, I'll go ahead and show you that. Let's go ahead and replace this. This actor's ID is actually fed from the engine, so this is something, it's a little powerful thing for any time you just had a collision with it and it hits a method, it's so we know what actor it went into. Of course, we're going to want the fishing name here, just like up on the get function for the attribute. So type in fishing, and case does matter, of course. And this shouldn't have to be. Oh, wait, we don't want to go into it. I actually want the. I believe it's like that, chat options, and then you go ahead and set them at that point, just like you would set through the attribute collection editor, what attributes it has. So just the same, and then we could remove the fishing option from there. I'm going to go ahead and comment that out, and we're just going to go with where it loops back to the beginning one. So we can go ahead and test this out. So first time, second time, third time. So now if we go to it and do it again, that new method that we just coded is going to loop it back to the first one. And so on. That covers how to do that. One more additional thing is you could also have this chat box clear out each time instead of starting a new line on it. It could actually clear away. So for that, let's go ahead and look at the message class and see if we can resolve that. Another quick little hint here. It's a little feature. It's a little bit stubborn, but it definitely does help. There we go. I actually had to put the dot in there twice. That's what I was saying. It's a little bit stubborn, but now at this point you can see all the functions that that class has built into it without actually having to go open up the file. So we could actually clear this out, use a message.clear function on it, and reset it. I'm going to actually go and take a peek at that real quick to see how that works. It's been a while since I've been in that file. Okay, so it's a real basic function. So let's go ahead and go back to endgame and let's go ahead and add that to it to show you how the clear works. So we could actually, at any point, just clear this out. Let's go, oh, no, we don't want to do it at the end because then it would type the message and then remove it and you would never see it. Okay, so let's go message.clear. And that will clear out the box each time. Let's go ahead and test that out. And there you go. Now it's refreshing the chat box each time if you don't want it to have a continuous conversation type thing going there. Now that's a little odd. Okay, I had a pause there to figure out how basically that was blanking out. It was just a minor little glitch in the message.visuallua file. This will be updated in the next release of this template. but for now, it's a pretty easy fix. Go ahead and go into the code behind. And on that clear function, I guess what its dysfunction was in this case, it wasn't resetting the lines for the class. So as it cleared it out, the program thought it was still at a high line count. So it was basically showing you a blank area due to kind of auto scroll nature that is programmed into here on the add line feature. Like I said, all this can be changed, but to fix this, right after go ahead and put in class.line equals 0, and that'll reset the lines back to 0, and then everything will function right. I'll go ahead and test that out here. Alright, so you got the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then back to the first, and now everything's working on that. Alright, I know I said I was going to do the zoom feature on the chat, but given the length of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and break that into the third section of it, so this could possibly be quite a bit more parts than I first anticipated. But I thank you for viewing. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment on anything, and post any questions that you have to me.